we have the How Ryu Hayabusa Can Defeat Dante video. So let's get started. So I've gone over both these characters individually, and I will be referencing information that comes from these videos. So if you haven't checked them out, I recommend doing so, then coming back here. So the way I want to go about this is in a couple different situations. One is everyone's favorite to bring up that I personally am not a fan of, but that would be Bloodlusted. As in, both characters drop in a neutral area and literally want to end the fight as soon as possible, which usually means that each character is outside of what we know them for as their own character. Like imagining Superman being in a fight with a Cyberman from Dragon Ball Z, and we say, okay guys, fully bloodlusted, who wins? And we all know in that case that Superman literally is going to sneeze and the Cyberman literally evaporates, which is going to be out of character for Superman. Right, not much fun to talk about, which Superman wouldn't do to the poor thing. Anyway, that's my tangent on Bloodlusted. Moving on. To make sure that everyone is following along, in a Bloodlusted state, Dante is winning the fight and there isn't anything Ryu can do about it. Dante is way too strong fast and has way too many hacks to give Ryu the slightest chance in this type of fight. Don't believe me? Check out my videos I talked about just a second ago about Ryu and Dante and how strong they are, and there's more information on Dante and the peak of combat that I didn't even reference because I didn't get my hands on it, but it's out there. Anyway, so I'm not gonna beat around the bush. Dante wins a majority of the situations, but this is how can Ryu win. Now that we got it out of the way that I believe Dante to outscale Ryu in just about every single attribute, let's get into how Ryu can defeat Dante. In this situation, neither know about the abilities of the other and their equipment, and are equipped with their signature weapons and their amplified items. This would mean Ryu would have his Dragon Sword and the Eye of the Dragon to allow him to transform it into the true Dragon Sword when he wishes. For Dante, this would be the Rebellion and the Sword of Sparta, so that when he chooses, so he can enable it and turn into his Sin Devil Trigger form. I don't think it really matters giving Ryu basic shuriken or Dante the Ebony and Ivory, as we've seen Ryu be able to block bullets as well. Anyway, moving on. So we'll also put him in a neutral environment that neither are familiar with and throw him in an arena. This doesn't really matter, but I figured I'd state it in case someone asks. Now, I'm not going to pretend that Ryu will immediately start off with the true Dragon Sword, as this is mostly a last-ditch effort for him, but I'm imagining the fight starts and the two start to clash, right? Dante is playing around with Ryu, and eventually Ryu impales Dante like we have seen happen to Dante a ton in his own games. This is where Dante in character is important in how Ryu can ever get a dub off of Dante. With the Dragon Sword inside Dante at this point, it's gonna stuff his regeneration, as it's capable of doing this, which is shown in Dead or Alive Dimensions for the story of Dead or Alive 2, when Ryu stabs Genra with the Dragon Sword, and he talks about preventing his healing. So the issue here that I wanted to know is that Dante's regenerative ability is going to be on a completely different tier than we saw with Genra. I understand that, but it's going to impact it. So the icing on the cake here would be that Ryu could notice this is happening while Dante is being full of himself, kind of being super cocky, right, as he is, in character, and we've seen him do it a lot. And Ryu decides to put in the Eye of the Dragon, which would transform the basic Dragon Sword into the true Dragon Sword. So, this is how I came up with his win scenario. If you aren't aware, one of the true Dragon Sword's abilities is destroying pure evil. Now digital, what does that mean? Dante isn't evil, right? No, he isn't, but his demonic form is. Hear me out. In Ninja Gaiden 3, we have Ryu fighting the goddess. This being is essentially a science and alchemy project created and uses a little girl, Kana, to host the being that they created. Eventually, Ryu has a true Dragon Sword and slices through the entire body of the goddess in their fight. While this is impressive, it is more impressive in that Kana is fine after all of it, and the goddess is actually completely defeated. So we hear this from Muramasa, the master blacksmith that has significant knowledge on all types of weapons, including the Dragon Sword. He shares that the Dragon Sword can only defeat true evil, which is what protected Kana from Ryu's attack, as she herself isn't evil, but it defeated the goddess. So, how does this work with Dante? Well, Ryu in this scenario, having the true Dragon Sword inside of Dante, he is likely going to negate some level of healing, like I mentioned earlier, from Dante, along with completely destroying the power of Dante's demonic power. At this point, Dante would be like V, except we would call him D. Anyways, Ryu against D wouldn't be a contest and Ryu would win. I know. There is a lot that has to go right for Ryu to pull this up, but this is why it's called How Can Ryu Win, not Here is How Ryu Always Beats Dante. All right, get over it. That is how I came up with it. Anyways, if you're still here, thank you to everyone for the support of hitting 1,000 subs on YouTube. You guys are amazing. If you want to be part of this growing community, check out my description below. It's full of links with things that I plan to put more attention into, like streaming on Twitch to hang out and chat with you guys while I gather more information for videos like I have made with casual playthroughs and such. Like, you know, I still want to do the explained videos. I still want to do, you know, on the stories. I want to do explained on their abilities and characters and, you know, things like that. I really enjoy those, and I know a lot of you guys do as well. I'm eventually planning to get into making videos on anime as this channel is mostly focused on video games. And if you're interested in that, feel free to check that out. And finally, I have a Discord that I would be more than happy to chat with you guys in. And I just wanted to put a final note. This is probably the most important thing here. My goal here is to create a super chill community, and toxicity can stay out of here. My goal, you know, if you guys find something that I have inaccurate, you know, definitely tell me, and I will do my best to note it. I want to prove it. I want to disprove what I can, right? Like, just, I don't want things to be an argument. I am all for discussing these things. This stuff is very fun to me, and I want to go against what we've seen. I'm sure most of us have seen in the past with these toxic communities that are surrounding these types of genres. My goal is to make this a safe space for that to not be, with my Discord and my YouTube and Twitch, all of that, for everyone to come hang out and enjoy some fun stuff to talk about. If that sounds great to you, awesome. Welcome to the community, and I'll catch you later.